this one is primarily about breastfeeding. It's talking about both mom and baby in this section. So we'll start out initially looking at it from a policy perspective. And the idea is that we want to try and get more people to breastfeed. So what I would encourage you to do, if you are not familiar with Healthy People or CDC, if you click on this link, it'll open up healthypeople.gov, and it gives you an idea of various indicators. Now, you're going to need to scroll down to get to breastfeeding. Okay. So increase the proportion of infants who are ever breastfed at 6 months and 1 year. So I'm going to just click this one. And you'll see that our baseline is 74%, and our target is 82%. Now, under this same objective, I have a map. So in looking at this map, this is infants who have ever been breastfed, okay? So if I'm darker in color, I have a smaller percentage of infants ever breastfed. If I have a lighter color, I have a high percentage of breastfed infants. Does everybody see how I got that? So if I were looking at policies, if I wanted to target improving the rates of breastfeeding, my question to you might be, which region of the country would I want to focus my efforts on? It's going to be here in the southeast, okay? So a lot of this policy things are interpreting data or interpreting graphs and thinking about what policies you would initiate. In other words, where would I expect to see healthier moms and newborns out west? Okay. So again, it's kind of fascinating. We're doing better in Kentucky, but we're not great. 61%, Indiana 74%. Nevada's 80%. There's a lot of stigma here still about breastfeeding, as evidenced by the hullabaloo about the young lady at Texas Roadhouse. And then CDC also has information about breastfeeding. So breast is best. The other thing about breastfeeding I have to be really cautious about, though, is fed is best. There are some women who do everything under their power to breastfeed, and we would not want somebody starving their baby. Starving their baby just to try and accomplish breastfeeding. We have viable alternatives here, whether it's donor breast milk, whether it's formula. But I think it takes a lot of support, and I think that's one of the things that's coming out from a public health initiative, is we don't provide a lot of support for new parents, not just moms, but families in the very beginning of a baby's life. And so the idea of you need to have that role transition with parents. It's a new person. Your life is forever changed. You're often sleep deprived. Your hormones are all over the place. You've got a new human being who's trying to figure out the outside world and adapt. It just takes some time and it takes some support to get through that period. Globally, we're very concerned about undernutrition in some places. So if we look at Ghana, for example, well, the percentage of infants breastfed there is above 95%. But does that mean they're optimally have optimal nutrition? Not necessarily. Sometimes there's gender differences. We see that male infants are breastfed less frequently than female infants. Why is that? You know. So this idea of breastfeeding and continuing breastfeeding for longer, if we can support it and help moms be successful with it, it has long-term implications just beyond maternal health, but also children's health as well. So it is significant. But I do think, as gung-ho as we are about breastfeeding, we have to be really cautious with encouraging moms and having patience. You remember the article from last exam where I talked about being patient with failed inductions? I think breastfeeding is also the same thing. It's being patient with breastfeeding, because sometimes it takes a couple of days, a week or two to get breastfeeding established. And that's one of the reasons lactation consultants are so important. Lactation consultants do not have to be nurses. They can be laypersons who've gone through training about how to provide breastfeeding support. But but we see a lot more of those folks now in both OB offices and pediatrician offices. So again, this is similar to what I showed you in terms of breastfeeding. So let's look at Kentucky. So ever breastfed is around 67%, but breastfeeding at 6 months, 35%, at a year, 21%. So what do you think is the reason why people stop breastfeeding in Kentucky? They go back to work, absolutely, yes. That is a big one, that is a big one. All right, I'm gonna stop here. So we'll pick up on this some